Hello, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Carla. I think this is episode 13, lucky 13, Jason.
Awesome.
And I am so stoked and so happy and blessed to have Jason Rosado here with us. And I know Jason from, I met him in San Diego a few years ago. And we run in the same sort of circle of coaches and healers. And the first time I met Jason, my heart just exploded. He has such a love and compassion and empathy for humans in general. And he's really has a way of connecting, especially with coaches and healers, and to really help them grow their business. And so that is what Jason's here to share with us, some of his, wisdom and insights that's going to help us excel to the next level. So welcome, Jace.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I really want to. Yes, I absolutely love humans.
Yeah, I sort of just threw that in there. It may or may not be true, but thanks for validating.
Yeah, no, I do. Most of the time, humans are pretty good. Every once in a while, you got a few here and there, but for the most part,
yeah,
I like them. Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about you. Short version of your journey, and how did you become so awesome?
That's the short version.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. A little bit about me. So my name is Jason Rosado, and I'm a business coach. I specialize in helping coaches and healers to double, triple, or even 10x their business, cut their work hours in half, all the while that they're really able to stand and bring out their brilliance. Because so many coaches and healers just either aren't sure, are kind of shy about really standing up for who they are and standing for the people that they can help and helping them, or they just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So there are so many people who are really great at what they do, but they just aren't able to connect with the people who need their help the most. And all these people out there in the world, all these humans that we love, aren't able to get this help from all these wonderful other humans who are there to give help. And they're just, missing each other because they don't know what to do. So that's what I specialize in, is helping to bridge the gap, helping coaches and healers to make these really important connections so that they can go on and help so many more people in their, with their gifts.
That's awesome. I loved, the bridge between the two. The way that I experience the world, I'm a healer and a coach, and I really feel the different energies of vibration. And, I see like the healers, it's like the light workers, like it's their time, right? It's like the world is getting really intense. It's always been intense, but the energies are becoming really polarized, and it feels like, now is literally a great time for healers to let their light shine, to come in to help us through this journey. And it sounds like you're the one who could help them, how to do this, because, I at least know how to get on a computer, and I know how to do a little bit of technical stuff, but a lot of healers, the idea of even having a cell phone on them actually disrupts their energy. And so they're not tech savvy. They don't really know how to communicate what they do in a way that other people could actually understand. So, so I'm happy that you're alive and that you're doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, I've had clients healers who definitely have had some problems getting. Like one client, we had trouble figuring out even how to connect for our coaching calls, because most of the coaching I do is over the phone, and when she gets on the phone, it gives her a really bad headache.
Yes.
Because of the energy and the magnetic fields and stuff. So even just trying to figure out the best way to connect and work together was challenging. Yeah, but we ended up figuring it out. So we did some in person, some on the phone, and just kind of took things easy when we were on the phone. So luckily she was local.
Yeah. And the other thing about you that I just want to highlight is, I said the word empathy in the intro, and it's like, you have this way where you're not criticizing her for this happening or making her wrong or bad. It's like you recognize like this is a thing for her. It's like, now what can we do, with that? So
yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of people who would just be like, they could go a lot of different ways.
Yeah. So What else? Did I answer your question? It was a long question, so there were different parts to it.
Yeah, just how did you get
Okay.
here? So you shared, what you do, but are you a healer? Are you like how do you identify?
Yes. Yeah. So, excuse me. Yeah, I've been coaching for 9 years on my own. Before that, I was in the corporate world, and I was in management and training positions and sales training positions and things like that. So the really cool thing I think for me is that all my clients are people who work for themselves. A lot of them have never worked for anybody else in their life. They never worked for a larger company, never experienced the corporate background and setting and environment and business structure. Um, so a lot of the great stuff that I'm able to bring my clients is, well, how do you set up yearly, annual goals for yourself or for your support staff if you have support staff. And so anyway, I got out of the corporate world, started coaching, and I want to say about 6 years in, I had already been working with a lot of coaches and holistic practitioners just because I felt really drawn. I met a chiropractor, my first chiropractor, in a networking group that we're both in La Tip here in Chicago, and got to know him. And I didn't really know anything about chiropractic, and learned, the whole the body, the system, how the electric fields flow, and that if you're out of adjustment, or they have what they call subluxation.
Uh-huh.
I used to know, yeah, I used to
Yep.
have this all known a long time ago. That you need the nervous system to be in alignment, everything's flowing. You don't want any kinks in the cord, so that the organs can get all the signals that they need to function properly. I just thought that was really fascinating, and it was just really cool. And because I didn't know much about it, I'm sure so many other people didn't know much about it. And then he was my first chiropractor, and he ended up hiring me to help him grow his business. And
Great.
I got to know a lot more about the business, and from both being a patient and from being his business coach. So it was really great insight. And then I just was gravitated towards that and started getting more holistic practitioners, and then some energy workers, some acupuncturists, naturopath, different people like that. Plus, obviously, helping coaches, business coaches, executive coaches, career coaches, wellness coaches, things like that. So I just sort of saw how all this plays together, and I remember even one of my clients whom had a specific block on, she was a chiropractor herself. So this is fast forward probably a year after I had this first chiropractor, and I had some more. And this one chiropractor who was a client, she had a really big block on being able to let go of certain activities that she was doing in her business. She wanted to do everything herself.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't really see that she could, delegate a little bit more. She did have a support staff, but still needed to open up some of that, and was having these problems. And other than saying kind of just the rational, like, look, you don't have enough, there isn't enough time in the day to do everything that you want to do,
Yeah.
and to be the practitioner, the owner, and the manager of your business, and to wear all those hats, and to see your patients and give them the kind of care that you really want to give them, which she didn't just do like a two-minute adjustment, and that was it. She spent like a good half an hour to 45 minutes with her patients, really working the tissue. And she's phenomenal. She's actually my current chiropractor. And we got to this point where I was just trying to use logic the entire time, because that's what you do with coaching. You help the person see from a different perspective.
Uh-huh.
This doesn't make sense. You really need to change things up here. She's like, I know. I can't do it. I don't know why. And, I just so I started using some techniques that, Carla, you're certified in, that called the Peace Process.
Mm-hmm.
We're both certified from Christian Michelson, phenomenal thing. And we use some of that, and it worked to some extent. And I just wish there was a way to go even deeper with helping her, because she still just kind of came up against this block, and she's like, I don't know why. I don't know. I can't make this change. I know it makes every sense. I know it's in my best interest. I'm just, so we did the best we could, and we just kind of worked through it very, very slowly, and kind of using the traditional coaching method, help the person get really clear on what it is, help them create some action steps, figure out what the best strategy is to move forward, help them to get better at whatever skills they need to do that. And you kind of slowly move forward. And it was after working with her that then, you and I met, and we both got certified in the instant miracle method or instant miracle technique, along with other stuff, muscle testing and ultra high frequency energy healing. So all these different healing things that I didn't really have access to before. And when I learned those things, now those things that clients before could get through, or sometimes really had a real hard time getting through, because they're all up here, and they're all up trying to figure it out and analyze stuff and look at it from different perspectives.
Yeah.
And I'm blocked and I'm not moving forward, and I don't know why, and I don't know what to do. And my coach is telling me what to do, but I'm still not doing it because there's this energetic and or emotional, block or blocks. So learning these then healing techniques, about 3 years ago for me, just it was like the last piece of the puzzle, being able to now help clients really get rid of the stuff that's interfering and stopping them and just, move forward very quickly and easily. So to make a short answer really long, yes, I am a healer now. Yeah. And, we use those things. I use them all the time on myself.
Yeah.
And all the time on clients. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Technical question. I realized I had my computer on low for the dimmer, and I'm realizing when I turned up, this light's really bright on me. Does it look too bright? Should I move that light back a little bit?
It looks fine to me. It looks really natural, normal. Yeah.
Okay, great. It is natural in this cloudy, stormy Indiana day. This is
natural glow is coming out perfectly.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. Sorry to, interrupt with some technical stuff, but
no, that's great.
So cool. I there's a part of me that wants to dig more into your life, but I also want to, let's share some of your wisdom, and then at the end, maybe I could ask some questions that I'm eager to ask about you. Great. But so we have I see some people keep popping in and off, so I wonder if Blab sometimes Blab is in beta. And so sometimes people have a challenging time connecting, which is why replays are really powerful. So for the person who is on here live, watching us right now, if you have any questions for us, please type in the chat room, and you just do /Q and a space and then a question, and that's will signal to us that you have a question, and we'll be happy to answer it. So, Jason, I love your title. I love, what you want to talk about the joyful magnetic client attraction. And it just sounds so easy.
Yeah.
Even though, as a healer, as a coach, getting out in the world, even though I know, I have, some great tools and such, I tend to shy away, and even though I also teach this stuff, I still sometimes shy away. Right. So I'm anxious to hear what some of your wisdom is. So where would you like to begin? What's step one or phase one or?
Well, I think, I made some notes to kind of remind me of the things I wanted to cover. And something that you just said wasn't in my notes, but it really did spark something that I think is important for people to know. And a lot of times when I'm working with clients and we're looking at, are they, if they're networking and doing that to get clients. And so a couple of things. The first thing is that when I refer to networking, I'm just talking about having conversations with people in everyday situations.
Great.
And the system that I created is actually called the natural networking method, because that's what it is. It's just a natural way of having conversations where you're able to bring your gifts forward in, conversations when they show up, when opportunities show up to help people. But you do it in such a way where it's a little bit of art, a little bit of science. There's actually a strategy to it and a process to it, because what a lot of coaches and healers do is they'll either miss the opportunities completely, not see them, not recognize them, or recognize them and be too shy, or embarrassed to really just be there for the person and do their thing, because people might think they're trying to be salesy or markety, or they'll be embarrassed, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or they just don't know what to say, or so it's like all these different things
Yeah.
come up, get in the way. Or they will help and they'll just jump way in, way deep, way fast.
Yes.
And go too far, too quickly, freak the other person out, or maybe not freak them out. Actually be super, super helpful.
Yeah.
And even in that, there's a balance, and this goes for networking, this goes for speaking, this goes for the sales process. You want to have a great balance and know where that balance is of serving somebody in the short term and serving them in the long term.
Yeah.
Because if you serve them too much in the short term, it can hinder their long-term development. But if you don't serve them enough, then they don't see the value in what you can do to help them.
Yeah.
So it's this, kind of tricky dance. And what a lot of coaches and healers do to avoid that is just do nothing.
Exactly. Pretend
let all these great opportunities pass by.
Exactly. And what's the irony? I don't know if it is actually ironic, but I'm going to say it is those of us who are, healers and stuff, we're very intuitive. And so you would think, being as intuitive as we are, we would understand where this dance naturally is of how much is too much and how much isn't. But that is not the case. Like it's literally, like you said, it's a skill, it's an art. And you could teach that. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And I think, going back to the intuition part of it, what happens is the coach or the healer's intuition starts going off. And I know this happens to me where I see somebody, I'm like, oh, wow, they need help in this area, and this area. And I know I can help them. I can help them right now. I could clear some of this stuff for them and get them on the right track. And so that intuition, I think, is a lot stronger than the intuition of knowing balance and when to back off and when not to jump in full force.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think their intuition does kick in, and that's actually trips them up and, hinders the process.
Totally. One of the biggest ahas that I had, it was actually, I think, at one of Christian's events. It was just because I feel it doesn't mean I have to heal it.
Yeah, right on.
Right. And Absolutely. And that's where the questioning, and I know, for me in this is I do give too much, or I'm learning to pull back, but do sessions for free and just do healings just because it's so fun. But, right. To put on the business hat and be like, no, this is actually how I make money,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know if you're going to discuss that about, how to attract clients and then how to attract people and then actually turn people into clients who actually want your services.
Right. Yeah. And, funny you should mention that. That happens to me all the time. Wow, I really want to help this person right now and help just, there's some quick stuff I could do. And actually, I was at an event, JVX, Joint Venture Experience, this past weekend, doing a lot of networking, talking to a lot of people, got signed up people into intro coaching sessions. And this one woman whom I was speaking with, she had a real big block. And I was kind of telling her about the healing stuff that I do. And, and she's a healer. Mm-hmm. And she was really fascinated by it. And I said, well, why don't we have a one-on-one coaching session and talk about some of the challenges that you're facing right now in building your business and see if there's stuff that, we should work on maybe longer term to try to heal. And she was like, oh yeah, okay. And it sounded really good to her. She was really into it. And then she kind of said, I was hoping you would just do something right now.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, and I told her, I went through the whole long-term, short-term thing. And, I don't want to hinder your long-term development. And this is usually the best method is to actually go through a coaching session to figure out what's going on. And then in times like that, my intuition was calling like, yes, let's help this person out. And what I'll do then, because I just like I use muscle testing a lot to figure out what's optimal in the moment, what's optimal for the universe, what's optimal for me, what's optimal for the other person. Even when I take on clients during the sales process, I'll muscle test. Okay, this is somebody who it's good for me to work with them, for me to be their coach, and I'll muscle test that. Yes. Okay, great. It's good for this person to hire me and allow me to do, coach with them and heal them. Yes, great. And then once we know it's a fit that way, so I actually do energetic testing to figure out. And if there's some reason that it comes up that it's not the right fit or whatever, I'll tell them, or I'll figure out, is there something we can clear energetically or, heal, because maybe they're just not in the right place for me to be their coach or for them to be a client.
Yeah.
And try to do something. So anyway, so I muscle tested for this woman and said, was there something that's optimal for me to heal for her right there and then, or clear for her? I got yes. So we did some stuff, it took a few minutes and it really helped her out. It really uplifted her a lot to be able to kind of see, there were some blocks that were holding her. I really want to kind of give more details on it because it was a really interesting story, but also what she does is so unique that if I say it, people actually might know who she is. And
that's okay.
I take confidentiality really,
of course.
I don't want to, but, but it was a great experience. So that's what I do too. And that's if, people who are listening to this, if you have tools that you can use intuitively, whether it's muscle testing or dowsing or whatever, tap into that and figure out what's the right thing in the moment. But follow your intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
That's it, man. Follow the intuition and reach out for help if you feel stuck,
Yeah. Right.
All right. So
totally.
let's get into the joyful magnetic client attraction, Jason's natural
Fun
networking
stuff.
process.
Yeah. So, I started saying, I forgot what I started saying, but it's a great thing about doing these types of interview like discussions.
Yeah.
Is that it's just free flowing. I think it's so much more fun than just being like question, answer. So
indeed,
we'll go on different tangents, as you know, and it's all good. Whatever comes out, and it'll be great. But a couple of things that came to mind when I was thinking about what we should talk about today and what would really help some people is just the nature of networking. Like I mentioned before, that really means whether you're at a formal networking event or just meeting people at a social event, your friend's backyard barbecue, for instance,
yes,
or even bumping into strangers at the store or, wherever. There are certain things that you want to make sure you know. So one thing is that networking happens everywhere, right? Like sort of like what I just said. Second thing is networking is about building relationships.
Yes.
And I know for me, I went to a lot of events, a lot of formal networking events, and people just throw their card in my face and say, hi, nice to meet you. What do you do? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. Here's my card. And that's kind of off-putting to me because I don't know you. I don't know why I would want your card yet. Like take some time to get to know me and see if there's a reason. Like for me personally, I don't ever give my card to anybody unless they ask for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, because it's just going to end up in a shoebox when they get home or in the garbage. So if they haven't even asked for it, like, that's fine.
Can we talk about that for a minute? I don't even use cards anymore.
Okay.
I just get people's, like, if there's a connection, like either put them in my schedule for a session, or they put me in their calendar for a session, or I put them in my contacts, of people that I want to know. What is your, what are your views of business cards?
Well, I think business cards are great. You should, my view is that,
and let me rephrase that because that's a big, so like at the JVX, totally understandable. Like you're in a big networking thing, you're passing cards. I could see it being beneficial. And everyday life, passing out cards. So let's talk about everyday life.
Yeah. Everyday life. Yeah. I like to have cards with me all the time. And so how it goes is I'm having a conversation with somebody and they say, oh, can I have a card, or do you have a card? And Carla, what happens then? What do people start feeling and thinking when they're asked that, and what do they do?
Like if you're asking me if I have a card?
Yeah.
And what do I think and feel?
Yeah.
Why do you want it? Are you going to call me? And, are you really interested?
Okay.
I mean, that's where I go.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So there's that. And also a lot of people, I know for me, when people say, oh, can I have a card? So I've come up with some ways to kind of turn this into a client attraction process when somebody says, can I have a card? But I used to get really excited and like, oh boy, okay, they want my card. And of course, right, if they didn't even know me and they say, can I have a card? Then yeah, it's what you said. They're, want to pitch me or put me on their email list without asking me or whatever.
Or it's just going to go like in the junk drawer, or they're not going to follow up.
Right.
Even if they know
Yeah.
that we could help them, you know.
Right. Exactly. And if we're having a good conversation and it sounds like they're kind of interested, and then they say, "Oh, do you have a card?" Then I would get really excited and be like, "Oh, wow, yes, all right." You know, they're going to call me. And what I used to do was pull out the card from my pocket. Yeah, here you go. And, you know, great. And then the conversation would go in whatever direction it would go, usually not towards getting a coaching session on the books. And then I'd go home and be like, "Oh, great. You know, they asked for a card," and like, wait. You know,
Totally.
There's no phone call. There's no email.
Keep checking the
If I follow
phone.
up with
Is this
them,
on?
you know, it's sort of like, oh, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, what I do now is if somebody asks for a card, I always say, sure. And I start pulling out and they say, why do you ask?
Uh-huh.
And I always do that. Oh, yeah, sure. Why do you ask? And then they're going to say, oh, because, you know, a lot of times they'll say, because what you said sounds like, you know, I'm having that same problem and, you know, maybe you could help me. Every now and then they say, oh, I'm just curious. And I say, oh, okay. And then I might even say, because a lot of times when people ask for that, it's, you know, something that we talked about kind of stuck with them, and they're curious to see if what I do, you know, could help them.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if that was the case for you. So
Nice,
you kind of
nice.
get there either way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then if it is, then you talk a little bit about that. And then, like you said, you can offer them an intro coaching session, say, great, I pull out my phone, look up my calendar, when's good for you, and actually schedule it right there on the spot. You know, because otherwise, so that's a huge, huge opportunity that people miss all the time. If they're asked for a card,
Yeah.
they say yes and get really excited and happy, and they should, and that's great. And then they hand it over, and then that's kind of the end of that whole thing forever, and you never hear from that person again.
Totally.
So you want to do things to keep that moving forward. They had an interest. Why was it? Maybe it was that they had somebody they were thinking of, a friend or a family member. They're
Totally.
like, oh, maybe you can help this person. And they just weren't going to say that. So by asking, oh yeah, why do you ask? Well, then they start talking about it and say, oh, well, yeah, you know, tell me more about that. What's going on with your sister? Oh, well, she has this business, or she's a healer and she doesn't, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, and then you can say, offer on behalf, you know, that you could do an intake coaching session. So
like
that's one thing right off the bat.
Yeah.
An opportunity that people miss all the time.
You're making me want to go get more cards. and also to have I know we weren't going to talk about cards, but something that just came to me that I actually wrote down is on my card, I want to make sure that I have, you know, like a Bitly link, or obviously the website, but
Right.
not just my card, but here's my, you know, tips or checklist or whatever it is that I know that I have to help them, of like, here's a card, go here. And that way they also get something sweet and useful out of it as well. Because it's all about giving back.
Right. Absolutely. It's about building value, building the relationship.
Exactly.
Totally. And, you know, the other thing with cards, the reason I like having them and I like giving them out is that I put my picture on my card.
Yeah, me too.
So that way, so that way they remember who you are after the fact. Like, oh yeah, I spoke with that person, and, you know, it's a reminder. And then if you have a really nice card and it looks good, and, you know, it can really elevate your status.
Okay. All right. Card on my list. Okay. All right. Moving on. So just a little catch up, not catch up, but a recap, I guess.
Mustard. Sorry.
Exactly. I do like mustard much better, less sugar. So networking and the way that you describe it is basically just everyday life, just having conversations with people, connecting, you know, from the heart place, and adding value with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Take it away. What comes next?
Well, what comes next is another. So that's one place. I'm still not, you know, the blab thing and the hands in the frame.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah. So that's the first thing that comes to mind is people lose clients that they didn't even know they had by not, you know, do you have a card, and then missing that opportunity. another place that they miss clients that they didn't know they had, and this is huge and this is so easy. I like to think of it as it's the two biggest magic words that you can use when you
Ooh.
meet somebody to get clients.
Okay, hang on.
You ready for this?
Two magic words.
Two biggest magic words.
Okay.
And you know these words really, really well, Carla Sean.
Okay.
I was being clever.
Name.
You know these words really well,
last name.
Carla Sean. Yes.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you meet people, and again, so I was at this huge networking event in Southern California this past weekend. 320 people, I believe, were there. All people who could support each other. A lot of them who could hire each other, you know, and do business. And people are walking up and saying, "Hi, I'm Jane." "Hi, Jane. Nice to meet you. I'm Jason Rosado." Pretty simple. And so, you know, just as an example of how this works, there was a woman whom I was speaking with, and we were actually wearing name tags. So I didn't get the chance to say my name yet. She looked at my name tag and said, "Oh, Jason. Oh, okay." I said, "Oh, yeah. Hi. Nice to meet you." And then she took another look at my last name, and she saw it and said, "Oh, Rosado." She goes, "Oh, wait. I get emails from you all the time. I really love them. They're great. You know, they're really helpful. These great articles. Oh, wow. Now I know you. Oh my gosh." You know, we're going on.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And you know, this happens. This is like the most important, and same thing when you have a name tag, when you go to a networking event or a party or whatever, people just usually write their first name, even business owners, people who are looking for clients. Yeah.
Guilty.
Always put your first and last name.
Yeah.
Because if you're just Carla, okay, well, there's 100,000 Carlas in the world.
Yeah.
Carla Sean with that funky spelling.
I know, it's right.
It's memorable.
It
is. It's like, oh, I've seen you on Blab. Oh, I've seen, Yeah. Huge thing. And then the third part of that same deal is when you're in a group of people and you're allowed the opportunity to introduce yourself to the group. Again, I was at this event, 320 people in the audience, and we all had the opportunity to go up to the microphone and introduce ourselves to the entire room. Not everybody did it. I want to say maybe 30 or 40 people out of the 300 did it.
Wow.
But they made another fatal mistake with their name. When you stand up to introduce yourself, normally you say your name. So that's great. "Hi, I'm Jason Rosado, and I help," and you kind of give your, what I call the hook sentence.
Yep.
Not necessarily an elevator pitch, but just the hook sentence, the thing that really lasers down to, what you do, who you help, and gets people interested. And then they go on and talk about so this is a joint venture workshop convention thing. So everybody was talking about different programs that they have that they want help promoting. They'd go and talk about their programs and stuff. They'd be up at the microphone for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And then I'm like starting to get interested and excited. Oh, maybe I can help promote that person. That sounds like something that my audience could really use. And I think it sounds really cool. And then they walk away from the mic and I was like, wait, who was that? What was her name? How am I going to find them 300 people?
Yes.
Yeah. So always say your name, your full name at the end of your introduction, in addition to at the beginning.
And how
it doesn't even matter in the beginning, honestly, but.
Right.
Yeah,
and how they could find you too. So like if you're at a networking, like Carla Sean, I'm sitting over here, or I'll be out there, add more descriptors, or I'm staying in room 212, depending on what kind of convention it is. But I like to have tea in the morning if you guys want to come chat with me. Right. Mm-hmm. I think that's brilliant. And it also makes it more personable too.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. We, case in point, I do Qigong every morning. And so, and my health coach, she was an attendee there as well. I'm her business coach. She's my health coach. Works really well. I love it. And, and so she was the one who taught me Qigong and told me about it. And we both do Qigong every morning. Oh, it's great. So before the event, we actually posted because there was a Facebook group for the event. So we posted, hey, we're going to do Qigong, meet us by the pool at 7 a.m. every morning. So, we got to do that and meet up and meet some new people. That way, again, people get to know something personal about you. They get to just a little more something about your background, your beliefs, how you work.
That's right.
And it's just another, networking opportunity.
Yeah. Which is why I love Blab and Periscope, right? You could Periscope like as you're getting ready to do Qigong and let your clients know, your followers know, this is what I do in the morning, right? And this is a way that people could really see who you fully are, right? Like websites are important, but like the social media that we have at our disposal right now is huge.
Oh yeah.
And really attracting people. So we have a couple of questions. So the first question, well, one question was just, what is Qigong? So do you want to go ahead and answer that?
Sure. And I'm not an expert in Qigong. So, the way I understand it and the way I practice it is it's a series of movements. So I follow the 8 pieces of brocade. Standing 8 pieces. There's standing or sitting, depending on your physical abilities. And it's a way to move the energy in your body so that I think of it's doing it in the morning. Basically, it helps me to focus my mind, to become more alert, to wake up my organs, to move the energy inside of my body so that my organs turn back on from having been asleep all night. They start functioning more effectively and efficiently, and your whole system really just becomes into focus. So that's sort of the short thing of it. More in depth, I guess it's a wellness ritual to clear your body's energies and, like I said, just to move the energy around from your organs, to clear out bad blocks of energy, to bring in good blocks, or I guess they're not blocks, but good movement of energy.
Flow. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Qi, which a lot of people actually spell Qi, and then Gong. Some people spell it Chi. And Tai Chi is kind of related. It's my understanding that Qigong is really about moving your body in different ways so that your organs wake up and do that stuff that we talked about. Tai Chi comes from an actual martial arts defensive methodology. I don't know what the right word would be, but it also has a lot of those same attributes to it. But Qigong is really just for wellness. So
yeah, it was developed. Well, who really knows? But like 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, especially in the Chinese cultures, at least how it's been taught over here anyway. And the act of moving the energy for health in all areas, and everything you said about the organs and everything. But we are energy beings, and any sort of disease is just a dis-ease, a block of energy, which goes back to what you were talking about, the chiropractic. But it clears us out, it gets us focused, and it raises our vibration. So that's what Qigong is, Eddie. And let's see. All right, Marcus has a question. I want to motivate people. Any suggestions? Whew, that's kind of a general
tons of suggestions.
Totally. Let me tell you, Marcus, how about this? Let's have Jason talk about one more thing that we can do to attract our clients, in a joyful sort of magnetic way. And if you would like to, we're happy to pull you into the love seat and actually have a conversation with you.
Okay. I had an answer for that wraps into the networking thing, but that's great too. We could actually talk to Marcus if he'd like.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. A lot of people are being pretty active in the chat, so we might get a few people that want to come in. Okay, let's do it. Perfect. Fine. It makes it interactive,
Right.
So, well, let me ask you this, Jason. Do you want him to come in now, or do you want to share something before we bring him in?
I think there's no better time like the present.
Let's do it. All right, Marcus. The seat is open. 1 second, please. No worries. And let's see. Okay, someone up here. I often try to keep smiling at events. That's great. Yeah, keep smiling. Obviously, yeah, that's great.
You know what I do before I walk into an event? I literally go like this.
Get that going.
Yeah, get these muscles warmed up and get the
Yep.
blood flowing. I literally do that because so that was something else I was going to mention with networking. I'm an introvert,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of coaches and healers are
Awesome.
introverts. Tons of us, and we really love helping people, but we all can also, it takes a lot of energy sometimes to get up to that, and to go and do events and stuff.
Totally.
So
Hello,
that's just something
Marcus.
that I do.
Hey,
Marcus.
wow,
Welcome.
you guys
How
are
are ya?
saying, you guys are saying a lot of stuff. I thought about
I can't hear Marcus. Can
Uh-oh.
you?
Yeah, I could hear him perfectly.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Interesting.
this happened to me yesterday on a blab. Jason, maybe refresh. I had to refresh my browser when that happened to me,
Okay.
but not you, Marcus. Marcus.
Oh, I hear you now.
Okay, good.
Great.
Oh yeah, but yeah, you guys were talking about some stuff that resonated with me right away. I've been thinking about introvert, extrovert, and I really think of myself as an extrovert, or I'm sorry, an introvert, but I like people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of an interesting mix. So it's like I like to keep to myself. I don't know, but Blab's really cool though. I get to meet a lot of people. I don't know. So what do you think about that? It's like, do you feel that you like people, but you're introverted? So maybe it's pretty common.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
do you mind if I go first and then you can, Jace?
Yeah, go for it.
So, introvert and extrovert, there's a handful of different perceptions of what those mean. Okay. And so that's what it gets a little bit ambiguous when we talk about it. From when back in school when I was studying psychology, the way that I learned it was introverts, all it means is we need to be alone to fuel up. Extroverts get filled up while they're with other people. So it has nothing to do with if you're happy around people. It just means where do you feel, how does your energy get filled up? Okay.
Yeah.
So I actually prescribe as an extroverted introvert because I have double Gemini. I'm an Aquarius. I love people. I love being around them, but I need like a day or two to refuel after that.
Go Aquarius. That's what
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go to a party, then they will go to the next party and the next party, and then they just keep going. Like that wrecks me. I could do it for a little bit, but then I'm drained.
Yeah. See, it's like I can go hang with people, but I really like frequent breaks because they just they drain me, and that's just how it is. But
Yeah.
Right.
And there's things you could do to keep your energy source up as healers. I know Jason, I don't know if Jason, I'm assuming you work with this a little bit, but I help people keep their energy in because we also are open channels. So getting other people's energy in us could also drain us. So there's a lot of reasons why we might feel drained. But Jason, do you want to speak to the introvert extrovert and your experience with it?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Because it is really important for people to realize which side of the fence they're on, so they're not trying to continuously swim upstream. I want to see how many cliches I can pack into one. But yeah, so this is something I go over with my clients because a lot of times clients, people get tired or they're like, well, I couldn't get to everything that I wanted to do this week because my energy just wasn't there. And it's like, well, let's take a look at what time of day you're doing certain things and what the activities are and how it affects you. And I'll usually ask them just a real simple diagnostic question to get at the introvert extrovert thing, which, like Carla said, I'll say, first of all, have you ever taken Myers-Briggs or any other thing that would tell you if you are an introvert or an extrovert? And sometimes yes, sometimes no. And then I'll say, great, well, because then I'll say, well, do you know if you're an introvert or extrovert? And a lot of times people will say, yeah, I'm both. Or I can go either way because I really like people. I like hanging out. I like going to parties. I also like doing stuff alone.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, great. That's actually not how it works. Like you're not both. It's a continuum. And so you've got extrovert over here and introvert over here. And it's true you could be smack dab in the middle and pretty much be both. But chances are you fall to one side or the other of that line. And it could be that you're extreme extrovert or extreme introvert or anywhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I like to define it is, think of it as if you're right-handed or left-handed. And then if I asked you to write your name, so I'm right-handed, if I were to write my name with my left hand, it looks really, really awkward. It feels awkward. It looks awkward. It's almost unreadable. Gotcha. Now, I can practice that over time, and after I do it, I've actually done this in workshops. It's a fun activity to do, if you're doing a workshop. Have people just do the wrong hand and do it 5 times, and by the 5th time, it looks a lot better, right? Because they're learning it, they're experiencing it, they're stretching that muscle. And if they do it enough times, eventually they might be able to make it look just like they could with their right hand. But their hand will be more tired, and it's still just not natural. So, introvert, extrovert, it's the same thing. It's like, I'm an introvert. I need to recharge by being alone, by watching TV, by reading, even listening to music, bike riding, going to the gym by myself, being in the car, whatever. Alone stuff to recharge. I love being... I don't know if I love... well, one thing I absolutely love is teaching. And, a lot of introverts love teaching. I love speaking. I love doing public talking, and I teach my clients how to do presentations to get clients. It's one of the best, really, really best ways to get clients, build up your business. And I absolutely love doing that. I used to be a corporate trainer. I love doing that. I used to, I could be in front of 1,000 people very easily, very naturally on stage. I could do workshops for like 8 hours, an 8-hour-long workshop, and love it to pieces, love it to death. After that 8 hours, like, I need to go be alone because I'm zonked, right?
Yeah.
Whereas an extrovert, they're like, hey, let's do it again, another 8 hours, let's go. I'm just getting warmed up.
Exactly.
So that's the thing, that was I used to be super shy and introverted, and I used to have terrible stage fright, and I couldn't get up and give a talk. I remember in school a few times, like, shaking when I had to give a monologue in English class for 5 minutes. Oh man, It was bad. But it was a skill I developed, over time.
Yep. I get nervous about it, public speaking. But what's interesting, and maybe get your opinion on this. When I do this stuff, like just on Blab or something, I'm a lot more comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
So Marcus, just because it's about 10 minutes to the hour, and so I want to get to your question of motivate people. So, a couple of questions first. What do you do? Like, when you say motivate, like, what does that mean to you? And so let's go there.
I'll tell you why I went there today is because I was about to write emails for my business, which is just basically, communication. They like to get, tips and hints about doing better in the business and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, like when you have to write them like all the time, it's, this is kind of one of the things I do is kind of surf the Blabs and, look for things to learn, content and stuff. And so that's what I fired the question off to you guys is like, what, I know that's kind of in general, but what's going to get somebody ready for business today? How about that?
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So you work with business owners?
Some, but maybe, I guess a lot of individual people working in business. I mean, I don't know if you call them, a business owner. I don't know what's the definition. Do they own a website or something? And then, but if you have somebody that's just working on online business, do you really call them a business owner? I mean, is it all the same thing? But yes, people working on business.
Yeah. Okay. So are you asking, what are some suggestions to motivate people?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Jace, you want to take that first?
Yeah, I'd love to. So when I work with clients, a lot of times we work on leadership, and it's really important to be a good leader in your business.
Okay.
For first and foremost, your own clients to know how to take your lead, how to follow you, how to get the best results from you. So that's really important. Secondly, if you get to the point where you have people that you're delegating work to, you want to be a great boss, motivator, inspirer, a manager, you know, and you want to lift those people up and get them to do the things that you need them to do and do them well. And then third, just you want to be a leader everywhere you go. You want people to know who you are, what you stand for, how to follow you, how to be inspired by you. You know, and this, if you're doing like networking stuff, if you're doing volunteer stuff, if you're on a board of directors for some organization that you're really passionate about, or whatever it is, you know, your vendors, like everybody, you really want to be a great leader for. So that said, I work with clients and they say, well, okay, that's all well and good, but how do I be a good leader? Like, and I don't want to go into, because you can go to like leadership courses that are like a week long where you're in a hotel room for 8 hours a day for a week, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, it's so much simpler than that. So I came up with this thing called the Tower Leadership Model.
Okay.
And Tower is an acronym. I actually only use 3 of the 5 letters though. So it's really the TWR. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh. So this is really good. So T is talent, W is want, and R is resources. So if you want somebody to do something, so this is called the Tower Leadership Model. I also like to call it how to get anybody to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, gotta like that, right?
It can be pretty powerful sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the way I like to do it is, if I wanted you to build a house, let's say I bought an empty lot somewhere and I drive you to the lot, put you down, and then say, all right, Marcus, I'm going to come back in a week and I want there to be a house here. Go. And I come back a week later, there might be one or there might not, right? And chances are, if you've never built a house before, there won't be one there.
There'll be a house. There'll be a house that just won't be very good.
Well, I didn't say I was going to pay you. I mean, I just said literally I was going to take you somewhere and put you down and say, hey, build me a house.
Well, you're challenging me. I might run and get some sticks and make you a teepee.
So there you go. And that might work.
All right.
Okay. So the challenge drove the want in you.
Well, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we got that covered. And for a lot of people, it's maybe they want to get paid, or maybe, something like that. So the want has to be there. And it has to come from inside. I need to know how to evoke that inside of you. Everybody's drive and desire comes from a different place. So as a leader, you need to know how to drive individuals' internal desires.
Yeah.
All right.
So you need to make sure that they have the want. The talent, if you have all the desire, all the want in the world, and you're like, I'm down for this, and you have no idea how to build a house, it's not going to be there when I get back.
Okay.
Right? So you need some talent. And that might be to actually do the job, or it might be how to find people to do the job, or how to look up the knowledge so that you can then learn it and then do the job. But you need some kind of talent in order to get started. Because if, nothing happens, no house is going to be built. And then, so now let's say you figured that out. You went online, looked up how to build a house, all these different things, and you've got the want and the drive and desire. And so I'm like, great, there should be a house there. And I come back and there's no house. Well, you didn't have any construction materials. You didn't have any money. You didn't have any people to help you. You didn't have the resources that you need. So whenever I want somebody to do something, I use this in my corporate career, as a manager and as a trainer. I always want to make sure they had the talent. So I had to teach them whatever skills they needed. They had the want. I had to help evoke that desire within them. And then they had the resources. They had everything they needed to go ahead and make it happen. And if any of those 3 things are missing, the job won't get done.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at the same thing during networking and during sales or during workshops, whatever I'm doing, same thing. I try to cover those bases. Have I given the people, so let's say I'm doing a webinar to enroll new clients into a program. I actually look at that webinar and say, have I given them the talent, the know-how to follow whatever call to action I'm giving? Is that covered? Okay, great. Is the want there? Did I do the right things to evoke the desire inside of them? And then have I made sure that they have all the resources that they need to go ahead and follow through with it and do it?
All right, I got you.
So that's my really short answer of how to, try to motivate people. Go down that checklist and see what you have covered and what you still need.
Jason, that was great. Thank you for the breakdown on that.
You're welcome.
I enjoy the answer. I feel better for the day. Carla, are you gonna say anything?
High five.
Yeah. Good job.
One thing that I would just say in terms of motivating, it's really important to understand people's pains, right? And so in order to motivate someone, you have to understand where they are right now and acknowledge that, and then go from there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Did you say pains? Did I?
Pains. Yeah. So
Okay.
so let's say people are feeling discouraged about the holidays.
Okay.
Okay, because holidays are here. And so if you're trying to motivate someone, you want to really acknowledge, like, sorry, I'm getting major feedback. Are you guys getting feedback?
No, not me.
I'm not.
Okay, I'll just deal with it. So acknowledging where they are, holidays can be really challenging for people. Like we remember the people that have passed. Maybe we don't have the money we want. This is a time where a lot of these things get really reflected and loud. And then people, and that pulls them in. They're like, oh my God, yeah, you understand where I'm at. And it's and this is how we could shift from there.
Yeah.
Right. Versus just saying, oh, go do this. If they're not pulled in, they're not going to shift.
Yeah. So like they don't relate to you and so they want to relate to you and just what they're going through. Right. And so if I address that, then they're like, oh, hey, he understands me or something.
Totally. Yeah. So like
absolutely.
if it's people who are working in an office, it could be like, do you have that boss who just, rides your ass all the time? And it's like, this is how you could rise above that. Okay. Right. So it's like, what's really in their space, and often it's, what do they think is preventing them from getting to the next step? Is it the boss? Is it the partner? Is it this? And you highlight that, even though we often know it's not that at all.
Yeah. Thanks, Carla.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I just one of the things I immediately kind of got from you guys, I think when Jason started talking is, set an example. I think that's important. It's kind of like walk the walk. If I expect them to, get fired up and kind of build the industry, so to speak, then I guess I kind of have to show them that as well. But
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Jason,
seeing like a ghost seat right now.
Yeah, Jason, you sort of like popped out. You're not on my screen anymore.
I'm not here?
You what? That's so funny. I could hear you, but I can't see you, and I've never had this happen before. That's funny. Okay, so we'll just hang on. Okay, Marcus.
Let me see. Let me keep going. I'm sorry. I'm just going to see if I can clear something energetically to.
Yeah, totally. So, Marcus, do you feel good? Are you able to hop out?
Yeah, I feel better. Thanks.
Okay, great.
I guess is your co-host gonna come back then? That's cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'll catch you guys around. I followed you both and on Twitter and Blab. So you guys have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you, Marcus. All right, Jason. I see your little. Okay, there we go. You're back in. Give me just a second. And there you are.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Marcus. I don't know what that was all about. Me, popping out, but supposedly it's fixed now.
Yes. Well, indeed, it's working now.
Yeah. So I'm seeing some other comments there. Telling thought and compelling stories is a great way to call the troops or audience or individuals to action and lead. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that also goes back to letting people know who you are and what you stand for. And it's kind of funny. One thing that comes up often when we're talking about networking and networking on social media, like using Facebook and things like that, people ask me often, well, I should probably refrain from posting political stuff. Right? Because I don't want to turn off people who disagree with my political views. And actually, I think it's the opposite. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to so much more greatly attract people who agree with you than turn off the people who don't. You will turn off some people. And there might be some people who make the decision to never do business with you. And there are some companies that are out there, some really, really well-known big companies who fund campaigns that I disagree with, or fund causes that I disagree with, or have ideologies, and they put it out there.
Yeah.
And like, good for them for doing that. They just happen to be wrong, but what can you do? And some of those companies I don't buy from. And some of them I say, hey, you know what? I still love the stuff that they sell, and I'm still going to buy from them.
Yes.
So,
be authentically you.
Yeah, definitely be authentic. Yeah, be you. Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're up on the hour. It's 4 past. Let's do a breakdown of the main tips and suggestions of attracting people.
Yeah. How do you want to do that?
So first, I mean, what we just said is like really be authentic, right?
Yeah.
Like authentically be who you are. Don't try to mold yourself into what you think people want, because people can feel that energetically.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
The other thing that we spoke about, or that some of your highlights was, especially at networking events, but anytime, introduce yourself with the first and last name, and at the end, remind people of who.
Yes, hugely important. All of those.
Let me scroll up because I kind of was writing them as we were going along. What else did we talk about? First and last name.
We talked about introvert and extrovert, and that's, we didn't get super deep into that, but just knowing where your energy lies, what kinds of things charge you up. So if you're going to do client attraction, that's usually an extrovert activity. So if you are an introvert like me, then know what time of day works really well for you to do that, where to put your energies, and what kind of things. So if you're an introvert, maybe doing stuff online is a little bit better for you energetically than going and meeting people in person.
Yes.
So know how to harness your energy and how to leverage it to the best. It's going to give you the best results.
And that's huge. I think the other one, which is, a lot of these, you could pick up any self-help book and you'll find them in there. But once they go cellular, it's like life-changing. And it's, we're offering suggestions and advice, and, we all probably have bookshelves of, and have had, courses of people telling you what to do. And it's, don't let the white coat syndrome get in the way, meaning if someone is an expert, take it with a grain of salt, but really find your truth. Because people will say, this is the way to do it, but it may not resonate with you. So check in. And if it's not, find what does, but keep searching.
Right. Absolutely. Give you some props on that one, Carla. That's good.
Thank you. I'll be here, all week.
Excellent.
All right.
Another thing, just another quick tip that we kind of touched on before at the very beginning is don't be afraid to be proud of your accomplishments and your abilities, and to boast, your greatness and your strengths, because people need to know. If they don't know, they won't know to come looking for you or to seek help. So,
yeah, I've spoken to a handful of people this week, and every one of them said, well, I don't want to sound conceited or I don't want to sound arrogant, but it's like they preface it with, I don't want to sound this way. And then they share something great. Like, one of my friends got interviewed on NPR, and before he told me, he's like, well, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I'm going to be on NPR. I was like, I don't think that's arrogant. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we could say it in a way where we're happy about it without it being, it's all in tone. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, right?
Yeah. And if you come from a place of gratitude, when these great things happen, or you have these great opportunities, just, let that out and show that and boast your gratitude.
Yeah.
Say, would be on NPR. Wow. I'm so happy. I'm really honored. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think this is going to be a great opportunity for myself and everybody who listens in.
Yeah. Boast your gratitude. That's huge. I love it. Well, I want to start wrapping this up. How can people find you? Do you have a link where they could find you on Facebook or your website?
Sure. Absolutely. Let me go ahead and type in. Did I just type it into the chat?
Yeah, just type it into the chat. That's right. Absolutely.
Right. So there's a Facebook for my fan page. And if you actually want to connect with me individually, because I am a person too, and I love people, as we covered in the beginning.
Yeah, humans. You love humans.
I love humans. And there's also my personal profile. I love connecting with like-minded people on Facebook. It's a great way to get to know you and, be resources for each other. And then I also have go ahead.
I was going to say, do you have any programs? I know, like, as coaches, we create programs, once or twice a year. What do you have coming up?
Yeah, I've got a program. I launched it a year ago. It's called the Natural Networking Method. So it's the actual systematic, step-by-step, how to take all these things that we talked today and much more, put it into process, and make it happen for you so you can go and attract clients anywhere you go, anytime you want. It's a phenomenal way to be able to serve more people, to really make change in the world and to grow your business while you do it, because you deserve to get paid, for your expertise and for all the healing and all the helping that you do with people. Yeah.
You and I both are pretty amazing healers. And when you said that, I got a hit of like clearing that. So anybody who's watching this now and anybody who watches the replay, let's do a healing on the block that could be stopping us from deserving that belief of we don't deserve to get paid, or it's hard to get paid, or, whatever that is back there. You want to do one with me?
Sure.
All right. So those of you who are listening, either on the replay or live, just when you think about someone handing you $1 million check, and all you're doing is having one conversation with them, notice if you get butterflies in the belly, or if your chest becomes hard. Notice, use mindfulness. Just go into your body and notice if there's a slight change. Now, you might have thoughts of like, that's ridiculous, or those thoughts are okay, but notice in your body where that sensation is. And as you're present to that, Jason and I are going to go ahead and do a couple of different types of energy work on you, but just be present to that and know that this shit works. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Great. So what I'm doing right now is sending ultra high frequency energy healing to support that feeling with love, so that that when you go out, when you're out there to help people, you're really doing it from a place of love, and you feel supported that way to be able to make those big connections with people. And then I'm also, what Carla's doing over there is the instant miracle. So we're going to do that too. Feel in and see if there's some energy to clear around that for people.
I'm also going to pull in some theta. So I go up to the 7th plane. If you know theta, you know what this means. If you don't have to know. But it's basically where Creator operates from. And so I'm just going to ask, and Creator could be Allah, Creator could be God, Creator could be Yoda. It doesn't matter to me. To me, it's all the same matrix. And so I'm just going to go up to Creator, and everybody who's watching now and watching the replay, I'm just going to ask anything that's ready to be released right now, that it instantly gets released. And Creator, please download us with the exact vibration that we each need individually and collectively to take our business to the next level, to allow us to attract the perfect clients that resonate with us, who honor us and we honor them. And together we create a beautiful union. Creator, do this now. And just notice what you're feeling right now. Notice that sensation in your body if it changed. Notice if you have any ideas or inspiration. That's it.
And breathe in that energy.
Yeah. Whew.
That's good.
All right. Great.
Great.
I don't know what that was for, but it was needed.
Okay. Awesome. See, intuition. She's got it. I also posted a link to it's a free report that I wrote about a year ago. And it really talks about this healing stuff that we're talking about. It goes into 5 key areas that you need to grow your business to 6 or even 7 figures.
Great.
And so getting, the mindset right, psychology, the energy, the healing, that's one of the areas. And there's also some really practical areas, such as how do you do marketing? And actually take people through the step-by-step process of how to do great marketing. in this report. It's called the 7-Figure Coaching Biz. Well, actually, it's 7figurecoachingbiz.com is where you can get the report.
Great.
And then when you download that, you also end up on my email list so that you'll get other helpful resources, as I send those out. So yeah, I talk about sales, marketing, networking, just like, real tactical stuff. And then also the energy clearing and stuff like that to, help make sure that you're really in alignment and getting rid of any blocks. And I go through some of the processes there to help you do that. So
Jason,
everybody loves that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Carla. Thank you. This has been so much fun.
You're a wealth of knowledge. What I love about you is you blend, you were in the corporate world, so you have that businessy energy, but you're also, so sensitive and empathic and a healer. And it's like this nice vortex of Jason. And,
thank you.
Yeah. So again, it's been an honor to have you on here. And everybody follow him, everywhere, Facebook, Blab, Twitter, and get on his list, because as you heard, people meet him and praise him for what he sends out. Because one thing about Jason is he's all about content. He's not like a lot of people that is pitch you on every email to buy. He gives, and then buy.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'm going to go ahead and just stop the recording. So thank you. And we're going to